Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah. Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, Greatmillstone, for teaching me this truth according to the Bible. Right? I want to get into this lesson and understanding, because watching American Horror Story, like season 6, right? It's like having these people dealing with like the spiritual realm, right? Like not of the children of Israel, right? And these things that there's things that are actually happening, that are even happening now, where the like these other nations dealing with the spiritual realm, and us, we're like the elect, we're dealing straight with the spiritual realm too, you know, but just on the right hand side, right? So I want to get into Balaam, Balaam, and Numbers 22, right? And going on, talk a little bit about the time of Egypt, and talking about the one in Saul with that woman that had a familiar spirit, right? Lord willing, I can get the point in all three, right? So I want to open off with this one, Sirach 19 and 22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence, right? Because, you know, these people, they're still not of the elect, you know. They're not the 144,000, right? You don't know where they are in the reincarnation, right? And they're really trying to go, they're really not for us, right? Because what? Balaam, he really wants to beat us, right? Because it said, it says Numbers 23 and 10. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. Talking about the children of Israel, right? But going back, getting the background story, it says in Numbers 22, and the children of Israel set forth and pitched in the plains of Moab, on this side Jordan by Jericho, and Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites, and Moab was so afraid of the people because they were many, and Moab was distressed because of the children of Israel, right? And Moab said unto the elders of Midian, now shall this company lick up all that are round about us, as an ox licketh up that grass of the field. And Balak the son of Zippor was king of the Moabites at that time, which the Moabites are the Chinese. He sent messengers before unto Balaam the son of Beor to Pethor, which is by the river of the land of the children of his people, to call him, saying, behold, there is a people come out of Egypt. Behold, they cover the face of the earth, and they abide over against me. Right? So there was like a multitude, great multitude of the children of Israel. Come now, therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people, for they are too mighty for me. Peradventure I shall prevail, that we may smite them, that I may drive them out of the land. For I wot that he whom thou blessest is blessed, and he whom thou cursest is cursed. Right? And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the rewards of divination in their hand, and they came unto Balaam and spake unto him the words of Balak, right? And he said unto them, lodge here this night, and I will bring you word again as the Lord shall speak unto me. And the princes of Moab abode with Balaam. And the Most High came unto Balaam, which I looked up that word, God, and it says it was Allahayim, right? So powers. And powers came unto Balaam and said, what men are these with thee? And Balaam said unto the Allahayim, Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, hath sent unto me, saying, behold, there is a people come out of Egypt, which covereth the face of the earth. Come now, curse me them, peradventure I shall be able to overcome them and drive them out. And Allahayim said unto Balaam, thou shalt not go with them, thou shalt not curse the people, for they are blessed, right? And Balaam rose up in the morning and said unto the princes of Balak, get you into your land, for the Lord refuses to give me leave to go with you. And the princes of Moab rose up, and they went unto Balak and said, Balaam refuses to come with us. And Balak sent yet again princes more and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, thus said Balak the son of Zippor, let nothing, I pray thee, hinder thee from coming unto me. For I will promote thee unto very great honor, and I will do whatsoever thou sayest unto me. Come therefore, I pray thee, curse me this people. They don't get it, because the Most High still controls the whole universe, right? So Balaam's going to break it down to him right now, right? And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak will give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my power to do less or more. And that's really the point, because there's nothing you can. If the Most High wants something to happen, it's going to happen, right? So if he doesn't want the children of Israel to be cursed, then it's not going to be cursed, right? There's no enchantment against Jacob, right? Let me see. Going Numbers 23 and 8. How shall I curse them whom the Most High have not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Lord have not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. So it's basically saying they're going to be separate. Who can count the dust of Jacob and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. But he's basically missing out, because he can't be of the nation of Israel, right? I'm going to skip to 19. It says, I'm going to read it straight. God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken, and shall he not make it good? Behold, I have received commandment to bless, and ye have blessed, and I can't reverse it, right? 21, he hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, neither hath he seen perverseness in Israel. The Lord his power is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brought them out of Egypt. He hath as it were the strength of an unicorn. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time it shall be said of Jacob, of Israel, what hath the Most High wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey, and drink the blood of the slain. Right? Because now we're waking up, we're getting back to what we were, right? We're going to fully get what we are in the kingdom, right? And there's nothing these other nations can do about it, right? And it's so much that this one, he sees it because he has that spiritual eye. The Most High revealed these things to him, that how great we're going to be, and how abased these other nations are going to be, right? And this is 24, Numbers 24, and he's really just prophesying, right, what's going to happen. So, yeah, he sees the greatness. The Most High sees the Most High allowed him to see the greatness of Israel, right? He was a spiritual man, seeing and you see he was dealing with the true power, right? Because only the true powers will are able to reveal these things, right? And he was a prophet because what in Numbers 24 he was prophesying, right? Now let's go talking about Egypt. Talking about those magicians in Egypt, because what they had that spiritual power on the left hand side, turning these different things. Let's just read it. It says, Exodus 7 verse 10, and Moses and Aaron went in onto Pharaoh. This the first time, and they did so as the Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods, because that's signifying that he had more power than these magicians, right? Let's go to verse 20. And Moses and Aaron did so as the Lord commanded, and he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh, in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned to blood, and the fish that was in the river died, and the river stunk, and the Egyptians could not drink of the water of the river, and there was blood throughout all Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did so with their enchantments. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and neither did he hearken unto them, as the Lord hath said. Right, so the magicians were able to do that, right? So they was able to have their rods turned into snakes, be able to have the water turn into blood and such like that. So it's just a process of Pharaoh's heart getting hard, right? And this is another one, Exodus. The last one was 7. This is Exodus chapter 8 and 6. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the Egyptians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt, right? So they was doing these things too. I'm skip down to 17. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice, in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So that's their cap. They couldn't do that, right? So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God, right? So the Egyptians knew what was going on. And the Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord hath said. Because what Pharaoh's probably thinking, oh, he's just the magicians need more time in or something, they could do the same things they're doing, right? So this is and after that in Egypt they had way more plagues on Egypt, but that was their cap. They the magicians were following and doing these things that they were doing until they couldn't do it anymore, right? They didn't have that power anymore, right? It didn't reach to what Moses and Aaron was given, right? So this is Wisdom of Solomon 17, verse 7. As for the illusions of art magic, they were put down, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. For they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear worthy to be laughed at. For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared or scarred with beasts that passed by, and hissing of serpents, they died for fear, denying that they saw the air, which could of no sight be avoided. For wickedness condemned by her own witness is very timorous, and being pressed with conscience always forecasteth grievous things. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offereth, which is succors mean helpers, right? And the expectation from within being less counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment, right? Because what this is talking about breaking down like these things that was coming upon these people. They're looking for these magicians to help, but really the help, because they're trying to be over the Most High. The help would just listening and humbling down, but that's not the case, because that's not how the Most High wanted it. He wanted these plagues to come upon Egypt, right, to punish them, right, and to ultimately show His power against the Egyptians, right, and this is 1 Samuel 28, verse 7, and this is because Saul was losing his kingdom, right, to David, because the Most High wasn't dealing with Saul no more, because he didn't slay the Amalekites. He took for a spoil, right? It says 1 Samuel 15 and 22, and Samuel said, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and adultery. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king. Right? So, he got rejected, right? And that spirit came off of him and was going on David, right? And David was waxing greater, while his was waxing weaker. And it says, 1 Samuel 28 and 7, Now I start at 5. And when Saul saw the hosts of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart was greatly trembled. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams nor by Urim nor by prophets. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, right, a witch, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor, right? And I'll just read it real quick. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night, and he said, I pray thee divine unto me by a familiar spirit, and bring me him up whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Samuel hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die. And Saul swore to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me, for thou art Saul, right? So these so-called powers, right, that these wizards and them, these things are real, right? So I want to bring out the thing about the American Horror Story, because they have things that are fact in the show, and they have things that are fiction, right? So you gotta have that discernment when it's actually talking about something and when it's not, right? And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw God descending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped down with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am so distressed, right? But really the point is, bring back these spirits. They're still from the third heaven, right? And it's wild what the Most High has going on in this earth, because it's never one fold, right? There's always things. It's a layer of things happening at all different times, right? There's wickedness in high places. That's what we're fighting against, right? We're fighting against these witches and warlocks, right? Dealing with the spiritual demon Satan, right? This wickedness in high places, where even what we think about isn't even what's really happening. It's deeper than that, right? Because there's nothing that they want everything. They want to be like the Most High, so they want everything to line up the way they want to go against us, right? But they can't go against us, because the Most High is dealing with us, and His words don't lie. That's why we're still going to get the kingdom of heaven in them, right? But this is why the wrath that is coming, the time of Jacob trouble, is going to be so bad, right? Because they really want to wipe us out, right? Because they know when they go down, that's it. It's the end for them, right? So it's just examples of this, even these other nations, or even this witch could be of our nation, right? So it's just like they're still tapping into that spiritual realm, but it's tapping in on the wrong side, that left hand side, We're dealing with the right hand side. It says, Ephesians 6 and 11. I'll start at 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that he may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Right? And we know the devil was dealing with Esau, right? With his father, the spiritual demon Satan, right? 12, and it's talking about these other nations too. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Because they know when Jake is going off, that's when the time they want to destroy you, right? That's the time where they, because if Jake was on point, then there's nothing they could do against it. So I want to make a point real quick. It says, right here. It says Judith. This is 5 and 20. Now therefore, my Lord, it says, now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. Right? But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest the Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach before all the world. Right? Because even though these the king, it says, going back to 4 and 1, it says, now the children of Israel that dwelt in Judah heard all that Holofernes, the chief captain of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, had done to the nations, after what manner he has spoiled all their temples and brought them to naught, even though they were exceedingly strong, right? And destroying these people, they realized they couldn't go against the Israelites if they didn't sin against the Most High. He's just bringing out truth, because we're on point. They can't do nothing. But if we sin against him, then it's over for us. Right? It says, this is Numbers 25, and at the top, right, this is example of Israel going off, right? And Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab, right? This is right after Balaam and Balaam, right? And they called the people onto the sacrifice of their gods, and the people did eat and bowed down to their powers. And Israel joined himself onto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. Right? The Most High was going against us because of what these Israelites was doing, joining themselves to these idols. Right? That's why we gotta be separate from these heathens. And the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. Right? So them doing that, just some Israelites going off and worshiping these idols is messing it up for everybody. Right? That's why we're in captivity now, because what was our people were worshiping these idols and going off really. Didn't want to serve the Most High. Right? They thought the Most High was the ways of the Most High were grievous. Right? They want to follow the Romans, want to follow the Grecians. Right? Want to follow these other ways, but not the ways of the truth. Right? That's why there's an elect now, because they're either gonna get it or they're not. They're just gonna die. Right? They're gonna either get it and receive that salvation, or they're gonna have to be reborn in the kingdom and get it then. Right? So that's when this happened. It says, verse 5, and Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses, and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest saw it, he rose up from amongst the congregation and took a javelin in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent, and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. You got to be on fire for this, because when the Most High commands you to do something, you got to do it. Right? You got to be zealous for the Most High. And it says, and those that died in the plague were 20 and 4,000. So it wasn't just like a couple. It was thousands. It was 24,000. So just gotta repent to the Most High, and He'll have mercy on us. But that's just me getting into these other like these people. They have that spiritual sense, and they understand the spiritual world, right? And basically, all these things, they're trying to fight against the children of Israel, the elect of the nation of Israel. But Yahawashi is coming, so all that's going to be brought to naught. Right? So I want to say, call the Hallelujah Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi, the water Yahawah Bahashim Yahawashi, for allowing me to do this video. And I hope it's edifying for the elect. And shalom to those pushing this word, right? Shalom.